Hey everyone, it is Jess Markowitz, Star Director of Jesse's Angels Saving Lives. And today I'm going to talk about, this is just more of kind of like a food for thought. And I had an email sent to me by a consultant, and it just kind of made me go, you know what, I think this is a good subject to talk about, that you as a sponsor, you may be a sponsor out there, and you may go through this in the future. A director and above, and even just a consultant. And so instead of just writing an email back, it's so important to feel people's energy. And so it's because this is a kind of a touchy subject, I really wanted her to, for me to deliver what I was going to share with her, hope like on a personal level, one-to-one, although she's in another state, so I can't, sit down with her and talk to her. So this is the best way that I can do it. And so I'm sending this video directly to her, and she knows who she is. So one, I always like to tell everybody, and I share this all the time, is that you never can stop learning. It doesn't matter how successful somebody is in a business. You could be at the very top of your compensation plan. In Scentsy, that's Superstar Director. I've got one more level to go. So I've done a lot in this business. But even at Superstar Director, I'm sure you can talk to many of them, and they'll tell you that they're learning every single day. And that's the case with every business, and in life. The second you tell yourself you know it all, that's when you stop growing and living, to be honest with you, because there's always something more you can learn. And so the title of this webinar is the view is in the eyes of the beholder. And the reason why is because there was a situation that she experienced that kind of took her back. And, we all tend to have a vision of what we are expecting of something, especially when other people are sharing their insight of what they have experienced. And sometimes we forget to kind of say, hey, this is the way I took it. And so when we're so passionate about, oh my gosh, this is what it is, and this and that, the person that's listening to you tends to go, that's what it's going to be, right? So this situation had to do with our Scentsy family reunion. Honestly, I've been to 6 of them in the past 5 years because I was blessed to be able to go right when I started. And every single one just kept getting better and better and better for me. And the only way that I personally can explain it from my view and my experience and my verbiage is that it's like World Tour on steroids. Now, if you've ever been to World Tour, it's basically a smaller, more intimate level of a conference, like a reunion, that we get to learn about products and get training about the spring and summer season. And so the fall is always a bigger season, so they do a bigger version of that, which is the Scentsy family reunion. And so there's just a lot more time and money and energy that's put into Scentsy family reunion. And so when I explain that to anybody and I say it's like on steroids, is because it's a longer conference, we'll say. A lot of people understand it better because we call it Scentsy family reunion because it's like a big reunion. We're all excited. We can't wait to see people. It's just an exciting time. So it's like going to see your family, like a big reunion. And but anyways, so it's longer than just the one day than World Tour. So there's more into it. It's a bigger version. It's definitely a bigger location, the way they set it up. Because it's spread out in so much, because we have so many different things going on for the reunion. So my way of explaining to people that have never been is I say it's like World Tour on steroids. And so I failed to say that's my personal opinion. And it's when you're excited about something, it's a fact in your mind. That's the way it is. But I also realized that the reason why I'm able to look at it that way in such a positive way is because the way I view and choose to view every situation. When I send emails out to kind of what to expect, the best that I can explain in my emails, I do say, bring your patience. And do I go on to explain why? No, because different circumstances, different people, different places. It's a different reunion. So I can't say this is going to happen. But when I say bring your patience, it's because there are every walk of life in this business that comes through Scentsy. There's people of every level of education, every, ethnic background, male, female, different age groups. So there's no specific cookie cutter Scentsy consultant. And with that being said, none of them are choosing to learn all the ins and outs of what Scentsy represents and what Scentsy provides for us all at the same level. Not everybody watches the same training videos. Not everybody chooses to be trained. And then what I was going to say is, a lot of you may be saying, well, if they don't train themselves and they don't know what Scentsy is really about and what their mission is and what the owners hiding over will represent and, all of that stuff, why are they going to reunion? That's a great question. That really is, because it's an investment. But when you think about it, everybody has a different why. Now, they have a different why for their business, but they also have a different why of why they go to reunion. Some people will go because it's just a reason to get out of town. They say, hey, it's a tax write-off and I get to go to a place I've never been before and see things I've never been. So their mindset is not to go actually to reunion and receive what's there for them on a personal level or a business aspect. They're literally looking to go and have fun. They're like, hey, it's a reason to go, because they never would have actually spent the money and go. So they psychologically convince themselves that they're going because they have to. But like, for instance, this year was in 2016 was Nashville, Tennessee. That's the Grand Ole Opry. There's lots of different, partying experiences in Nashville. And some people are like, yes, I get to go to Nashville and, see the Grand Ole Opry, and I get to have a night out on the town, a couple nights out on the town with my husband. It's a reason to spend time with them. And that's their why. And that's okay. That's what Scentsy's about, is that you get to choose what journey you go on and how you utilize all the benefits of the business. And so, yes, somebody that's going there with the intention of this is a business to me and I'm there to get as much training as possible, can that be disturbing to them? Yes, it can. But it's not as disturbing if you go there knowing that I'm here for this purpose for me, but everybody else, every single person has a different purpose. So the way they handle situations, the way they conduct themselves is going to be different than me. And that's okay. Now, can it get frustrating? And, yeah. So that's why my message is bring your patience, because not everybody is going to think what's important to you is important to them. There was a little bit of excitement when we were going into general sessions, because there wasn't, seating assignments. So everybody was like rushing to get together so they can all sit together. So it was like kids being, running into the candy store. And was it a little disturbing to some people? Because yeah, some people got pushed. I got rammed into the door and I got a cut on my arm. Did that hurt? Did that upset me for a quick second? Yeah. But then I said, wow, instead of choosing, oh my God, I can't believe that person, I thought, wow, that person's so excited. They didn't even realize that they pushed me out of the way. That's the way I choose to look at it. But I can choose to say, oh my gosh, how rude. That's disrespectful. I can get all mad, but is that going to change what happened? No. Instead, I choose, which is the way I choose to view things, is that, you know what? I'm sure if they knew that they hurt me, they would be upset. They would be sorry. And so because they're halfway down to the chair, where they want to sit, they don't even know they hurt me. I'm going to choose to say that they didn't know they hurt me and that they would be sorry if they did know. That's the way I choose. And that's what I chose. So you have a choice of how you handle everything. Was that choice of not having seating assignments, was that the best decision that Scentsy could have made? Well, one, just because I know that the way it was set up, it was hard to actually assign seats. The way their specific setting of the general session was, there was really no way to say, okay, because everybody has a different size team and group. So this, if there was a section and they blocked it off for this team, well, guess what? There still may have been people sitting by themselves on the other side because this team is bigger than just this section. So instead of causing that chaos, they just figured, you know what? Everybody is going to, you know, fend for themselves. We're all grown adults. We're all 18 and over. And so let's communicate within each other in order to try to get there together and get to the same seating. Now, as the director and star director of the teams that came with us in our group, I tried to communicate as best as I could, which was Facebook group page. I did have a app that was called Remind, which was a blast to everybody. Well, here's something that I found out after the fact. I thought everybody was getting my texts. Well, I didn't know that some people had actually opted out of that text earlier on when I invited everybody, and so they weren't receiving my text. Now, I found out also later on that they didn't realize they opted out. So it was a misunderstanding on everybody's end. I was trying to do the best I could to communicate, and that communication was not being given. So that person can assume that I wasn't giving the information. But then when they found out that they opted out unintentionally, they realized that it really wasn't a fault of any of ours. Everybody's heart was in the right place. And so as a leader, I can't beat myself up with making, you know, and stressing about, you know, over 30 people, which was the smallest group we've had at reunion. So I've had to learn to really learn where to focus my energy and my stress levels, because it can get emotionally stressing because you care about everybody and you want to be sitting next to every single person, but that's not possible. So Jen Audette, superstar director of the main stars, she has always been, in my mind, like a mentor. The way she thinks, the way she runs her business, the way she conducts herself as a person. I've always looked to her as, you know, how I want to represent myself and my business. And she was on stage at General Sessions, and she said one of the things that she's had to learn in her business, and I think Orville Thompson told her this, is to learn to grow thick skin and a bigger heart. And when she said that, it made so much sense to me, because I know if I didn't learn to do that, it would be very hard to emotionally handle being a leader in this business, because you tend to take things on a personal level. When one person is not happy, it really can stress you out. But we also have to remember that it's your reunion as well. And you're there to learn and to get your cup filled back up and all of that stuff. So as a leader, sometimes we have to kind of let go and just hope that everybody is fending for, you know, getting what they need, and know that if they come to you and say, this is what I'm experiencing, you can let them know. You can help them. But if they choose to just separate themselves from the group or from you, then you have to assume that they're okay, that they are experiencing what they want to experience. But again, we have to remember in all aspects of this business that you are not a mind reader and they are not a mind reader. So just like with our clients, unless they know what you'd like to intentionally try to do for them, they don't know that you're willing to do that. So if you're not having an experience that you are looking for, then it's very important to share that with your upline. And as much as I love the email that was given to me, and I really appreciate feedback, because this is what this video was inspired by, because I wouldn't know that somebody had a bad experience unless they let me know. And so I applaud her for sharing these with me. This is also why they send surveys at the end of reunion, is because they really want to know what your experience was like, so they can do anything they can within their ability to make it better every year. And they really do. I promise you, every year they make it better and better. This year was just an experiment and kind of not in their hands. They had to do it, the kind of free-for-all sitting areas. And they had to just work with what they had. And, you know, that's the best they can do. So we have to, instead of judging, thinking somebody, they planned it wrong, or they, you know, and take it personally, like they were trying to not let you have the best experience. Know that they're all humans themselves at the events team. They're all just trying to do their best to make it the best they can possibly. And it may not always be the best for you, but when you think of, you know, 9,000, but what tells me is that she may have not, because she didn't come to me with this issue at reunion. So that's one thing that, another thing with the reunion, or excuse me, with being a leader, is that you can hope that everybody knows where your heart is and that you're willing to assist in any way. But unless they tell you that you're not, you know, that you're not, they don't feel that way, that, you know, there's no way to know how people feel about you, and there's nothing you can do to control that. So all you can control is that you know where your heart is, and that you can try to reveal as much as possible that you're there to help. If they don't take that in and they don't utilize that resource, there's really nothing we can do. So to that consultant, I wish that she would have come to me at reunion and said, this is what's going on, and this is where I'm having some issues. And I probably would have been able to make some suggestions and helped her out with that. So in the future, I hope that she and anybody else that has any issues with their business, an event that they're at, or anything like that, that instead of waiting to express their frustrations or feelings or concerns and letting their business not be successful, or their event go by and not be what they expected it to be, you know, nip it in the butt right then. Connect with your upline and say, hey, I'm not experiencing what I am looking for to experience. Is there anything that you can suggest that'll make this a better experience for me? And it's likely that we would be able to, maybe not the way they're looking, because we don't, again, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. If you are expecting a certain thing, and that can't be provided, it's very likely that you will be disappointed. So this message is about choosing to find the good in everything. Because if you don't choose to do that, you will find the bad. You will find things that aren't the way you are expecting. And one thing that myself and another director on my team, we've talked about many times, and some other people in our team have kind of went back and forth with us on this, is the idea of having expectations about certain things. Some people think that you should. People think that me as a director or star director, or whatever, you know, upline that I am to you, that I should expect things from my downline. Well, I've learned in this business that the second I expect something is the second that I am putting myself up for the opportunity to be disappointed in that person. So instead of expecting anything, just being open-minded and looking for the good, and open to receive things that, you know, may be benefiting you in your life. Meaning, you know, I'm open to the fact that somebody may or may not take this business and kind of take it by the horns and do great things with it. But if I expect somebody to do that and they don't, it could be disappointing. It could be, you know, for them, it could be disappointing for me. And so instead, I just take things at eyes view, and I choose to view it as it is, instead of, you know, I really ask myself, is this something I can change? Is this something that is in my control? And if it's not, then I choose to see it the best way possible. And I encourage all of you to. So the moral of this video is to really think about your circumstances and situations in everything in life, in your business, in your personal life. You know, ask yourself, is this person or situation, is it really intended to harm me? Or is the intention to not be the best that it could be? When you think about reunion, they literally smell, well, fragrance, but they spend millions of dollars on reunion. Do we really think that they wouldn't try to do the best they absolutely can to make the best experience possible for you? So probably not, right? They're really trying to do their best. And so if you think that the way they set up schedules or things like that wasn't the way that you feel would have been the best, that's why they need your feedback. Let them know specifically why that specific time was not a good time to set that up. She was a first timer, and so one of her concerns was that, or frustrations actually, was that the first time attendee meeting was later in the day, when she had already, you know, went and saw these other things like the product experience and things like that. And then later on in the day was the first time attendee, and they gave them tips on what to ask and what to look for. And she was like, well, I wish I would have already known that, because I already did that. So that makes sense. She was a little frustrated about that. Like, if I would have went to that earlier and then went, But when you think about it, here's not to defend the home office, but of course I always will, but if I see, to see fit, but everybody arrives at different times. So when you really think about it, they can't just assume that everybody's going to be able to be there by 9 o'clock in the morning on that specific day. Some people don't show up until the beginning of general sessions. So they try to make it as close to when general sessions start that they'll at least be able to get their first time attendee meeting in. If they do it way too early, a lot of those attendees may not make the meeting because they can't get there till later in the day, because general sessions, the actual real start of the reunion, doesn't start until later that day. So they put all the starting of everything that's real training in the beginning. All they do is open up those earlier things for people that just happen to be there. And if we choose to go earlier, then, we see things earlier. And that's not, again, not in their control how you choose to schedule yourself in that area. So moving forward, if any of your team members, this is what I learned, I will make sure that I suggest to firsthand attendees, because she gave me this feedback, that it's important to maybe go to your first time attendee meeting before you go and view anything else, so you can have the right instructions and know what questions to ask. There were other first time attendees there, and they didn't have an issue with that structure. So it just depends on the person. But I did learn that that's a suggestion I can provide if they're the type of person that will happen to want to know what they need to do first before they view anything else. They can choose to do that. But do you see how there's no really way that they can make anybody happy, or every single person happy? Because some people can care less. Some people make it work no matter what. And some people need a specific, and that's okay every way around. But in the end, because we can't make everybody, happy, we have to just kind of see in general, what would make the most sense. And the most sense is having it as close to general session as possible, because a lot of people book their time to come in to wherever the location is for reunion closer to general session time. So they don't have to be there and miss a whole day. Some people work that day or half day and then jump on a plane and then they make it by general session. So I hope that you understand that everything that Scentsy does itself is with good intentions. And me as a leader in the company, I follow or try to follow that same mission and standard. But again, I'm only human, they're only human. And so we will not necessarily respond the way everybody expects us to. And it's not because we don't care or we don't try to accommodate everybody. It's just simply impossible. So I hope this makes the person that I made this video for feel better, knowing that we are not teaching, everybody is not, first of all, Scentsy's not teaching people to be, rude and inconsiderate. That's just the way people are. Some people we can't change how they choose to conduct themselves, and not everybody is going to really dive into what Scentsy represents. And so we have to take that into consideration. The people that do, you will find, are more considerate. And in the end, even if they are good, wholesome, Scentsy loving, really bleed Scentsy purple, they're still human again, and they will maybe do something out of excitement that may end up not representing, respect and conduct themselves the way everybody else feels they should. Like the lady that pushed me in and cut my arm. I personally think that she was so excited because of Scentsy that she didn't think about her responses. So I'm not going to penalize her and hate her for that and think that she doesn't understand the Scentsy way. To me, I think that the Scentsy, purple Kool-Aid was just so running through her veins that she didn't think about anything but how excited she was. But again, that's the choice I make. That's a choice I choose to view that situation. So I hope that you choose and understand that you do have a choice on how you view things, and understand that communication is the key to everything in life. If you do not communicate the way you feel and handle it right then and there, you will end up missing out on things that are important to you. So next time, make sure you communicate with your upline if there's anything that you need. If you're struggling in your business right now, let them know, and maybe they will do what they can to assist you. I'm sure they will. That's, in my opinion, that's where I come from. I surely will. So I can hope that everybody else would too. Have a sensational day. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you can apply this to your personal life as well. And know that, you know, every person that joined your team is a new opportunity for you in your life by helping and serving them and leading by example, and you know, using your experiences to help them and guide their way. But just remember, if you're passing on negativity, negativity grows faster than positivity. So think before you pass on any negative experiences, and try to just use you know, your experience to make their experience even better. So have a sensational day, and until next time, bye-bye.